This music has been systematically, purposely pumped with a toxic message in order to socially and sociologically change society. This might have intentionally stemmed from ruining just the black population. Maybe it's not. But the bottom line is now this has permeated through each and every crevice of society. This has been stemming from the 80s. I heard murmurs of this when the Beastie Boys, because they'd come from predominantly a very affluent Jewish upbringing, all of a sudden they were frowned upon because they were bringing their Jewish heritage into disrepute by bringing a ghetto form of hip hop and getting people of their same ilk and same peers to buy their records and to reenact the way they think. And there was a hell of a lot of VW cars that suffered with the loss of badges because of their message. So sociologically, you can see how the message that can be portrayed through either film and music can permeate down to actual attitudes on the street. When you look at crimes that are being portrayed in England and particularly London between knife crime and gun crime, what you see in terms of what we class as entertainment, in terms of the social engineering, the subliminal messaging, and the product placement between music and between films. So I've got this article here. CIA financed 80s hip hop to corrupt American youth, admits CIA agent. And it says it all. John Holmston, a retired CIA agent, has admitted this week on national Russian television, this goes back to August 17, 2017, by the way, that the CIA was behind the creation of hip-hop, 1980s hip-hop, financed major hip-hop acts including NWA, African Bambaataa and Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five. I don't know how true this is. It rings true because of the very nature of the toxicity of today's hip-hop that is being pushed. It's not truly representative of all the hip-hop is out there and all the R&B. Hip-hop artists that is portraying a positive message, and there is a lot of R&B singers that is portraying a positive message. So that has to be said. The problem that we've got is the people right at the top don't live in the ghetto. Your music CEOs don't live in the ghetto. They are the ones that are pumping this music through the media companies that they own, attributed and connected to radio stations, connected to film companies, and not affiliated with the ghetto. I look at a young lad on the street that is showing all the signs of being totally brainwashed by the film culture, by the music culture. I can't blame him totally because he's had a drug administered to him that he's found so strong that he's fell into the trap. The one major point, music is a drug. What I found in my musical career spanning over 30 years, and I come from a heavily musically influenced family, that my influence has always been rhythmical and percussional. So I've got into my DJing through that. What I have found with music, particularly hip hop, of all sects, whether it be positive or negative here now, swipe aside the verbal, the lyrical content. Imagine just the instrumental, just the music. The music has never been so seductive, never been so productively sexual, has never been so dynamically, audibly beautiful as it has done today. With the complexity of modern day computers, modern day music systems, It's no longer analog now. Some people choose to use the analog. I do prefer analog, but I love the digital sound and I love the ease the digital age can bring to music. It is far quicker and far more efficient, but you do lose a lot by going down that route as well. But musically, it is the most intelligent it has ever been. This is the conflict within music today, is that you've got such a musical sound that is so hypnotizing, that is so seductive, that is so rich, that is the sweetest candy ever available. But on the top of it, layered with such a nasty, toxic message, that even that does not stop the seductiveness of the music. So that's the problem we've got. And even if we don't listen to it, of informed public, you've got plenty of people that are. One of the other artists in the original tune that I'm talking about, which is Kanye West and Lil Pump, featuring Adele Givens, I Love It. Okay? I was looking at this Lil Pump, because everything's now abbreviated. He's got another track out called Gucci Gang. So that says again, he's fell into the name, the celebrity trap angle, which has permeated into the fashion wear. Now, even if you can't afford it, you've got to be seen to be wearing your labels. Gucci does not represent ghetto in any way, does not represent the strife of people. It represents a wage bracket that you are not on. That's what it represents. To me, I have fallen out of love with wanting and needing to show people that I am a strong individual because of what I wear, and because aesthetically what I wear means that you should respect me. I have lost that mentality a long time ago. What people like this are doing are trying to promote it as if to say that if you're not in this, you're not part of the crew. You're not part of the crew, you're left behind. Well, what I can say, he's got a fallen mentality. This next track that he had, that must be quite old, October 2017, is called Gucci Gang. And pretty much that's all he says, which then again I could go on and on into the way this music is. It's so simplified. It is almost like you have to be fed the most nutritious meal that is stacked full of protein and bulk, but you have to somehow feed it to someone through a tube. So what you have to do, you have to solidify everything that is good about it in order to feed that through to someone. And that is what I feel that hip-hop music, and particularly this stuff that's being portrayed, and R&B that is being portrayed, that is happening right now. You're getting the good elements of hip-hop and what it truly stood for, which is being solidified and ruined in order to gunk it back out to the mass populaces, and is sociologically and psychologically ruining the population, which you could argue plays a big part with what we're going through with the cultural Marxism. When you've got a view count on this video alone, Gucci Gang, of 857,740,921 views. It has a like of 8.1 million ups to 1.3 millions down. Now that shows you where we're at.
It's just been uncovered and confirmed that the United States government infiltrated the hip-hop industry in Cuba, recruiting popular rappers, and encouraged them to perform and write, and just gave them lyrics for songs that they would produce that would encourage their audience, largely the youth, to overthrow the Cuban government and spark a revolution. Oh, I thought that the CIA being involved with the hip-hop industry was just a crazy conspiracy theory. No, here it is. Newly uncovered documents confirm that in 2009, the U.S. Agency for International Development, in cooperation with the CIA, recruited Cuba's popular rappers and hip hop stars and fed them lyrics and ideas, again, in order to encourage them to promote a revolution in Cuba.
I use language, you could argue, quite frequently on my channel, and I'm not going to apologise for that, but I will not use it to degrade someone. To use it in your everyday language and to use it against people and to think that you're up and to call someone an effing hoe, and then you've got the feminists that will call you all the names under the sun because you critically think about what's going on in the world, but yet they have nothing to say about this whatsoever. They don't see the sociological dissent that this music brings and what their own kids are singing. Now, one thing I will end this with is that the reason why I felt so strongly about this, one, because of the view count, two, because in the room that I played this was my two daughters, or this was playing rather. My two daughters knew this tune, so it's permeated right down. Now, like I say, I've got tunes like this going back 10 years that are not graphically as so socially degrading as this, but they're just as hardcore. But I will not play that in front of my children. There's a time and a place. They'll hear, on the other hand, me overhearing me swearing every now and then. That has happened. I'll try not for it to happen, but they know that it is not the way I want to conduct myself, and I will try and put myself back online as quickly as possible. However, we live in the real world, so I'm not going to shield them from that, but at the same time, I'm not going to pump just negative, disparaging, non-motivational kind of rhetoric into them and say, yeah guys, go out into the world. This is Red Pill Phil, wondering why the world is so messed up. I love you all, even the pissing haters.